On the day of the duel, the crowd murmurs in confusion. Lloyd's chosen weapon is not a sword, but a solid iron shovel, specially ordered from the blacksmith. Newman is visibly insulted, and Baron Frontura covers his face in shame, convinced that his son is turning the whole thing into a bad joke. The only one who retains a trace of trust is 𝐆𝐵𝐿. He has witnessed Lloyd's efforts over the past month, grueling physical training at dawn, managing construction sites, and instructing workers in the Ondal technique, followed by sword training late into the night. 𝐆𝐵𝐿 knows that Lloyd is more serious than ever. The duel begins. Newman, furious, launches into an attack, but is surprised when Lloyd parries the blow with the shovel. The audience and family are shocked. Newman attacks again, but Lloyd parries again. 𝐆𝐵𝐿 immediately realizes what is happening. Lloyd's movements, although clumsy, are incredibly effective. They are not the movements of a swordsman, but of a soldier. Lloyd uses bayonet fighting techniques learned in the Korean army, adapting them for the shovel. It is the essence of modern hand-to-hand combat, an evolution that the knights of this world cannot understand. Lloyd continues to tease Newman, explaining the versatility of the shovel. The broad blade can be used as a shield, the edge can cut, the tip can thrust, and with the right movement, it can be used as a pogo stick. This latest ridiculous demonstration leaves 𝐆𝐵𝐿 speechless, wondering if it was all a hoax after all. But behind the buffoonery lies a cold plan. Lloyd reveals in his thoughts the 4 secret weapons prepared for this duel. The iron shovel, an unorthodox but sturdy weapon. Basic fencing steps, learned from 𝐆𝐵𝐿, it gives him the mobility he needs. Newman, completely overwhelmed by the chaotic fighting style, begins to lose his breath. His hands go numb from shock of the blows parried by the solid shovel. Then Lloyd reveals his 3rd weapon. During his training, Lloyd has collected enough relationship points, RP, from 𝐆𝐵𝐿 and his parents, who were impressed to see their son working for the first time. With these points, he has unlocked a new ability. Ability Expansion, Shovel Wielding Level 1. This ability increases all of his physical attributes when holding a shovel, making him a surprisingly powerful opponent. Overwhelmed, Newman is forced to resort to his trump card. He activates his mana heart, concentrating magical energy within his body to increase his strength. He prepares to deliver a devastating blow that Lloyd would normally have no chance of blocking. The Baron and Baroness watch in horror, but Lloyd is prepared. When Newman strikes, Lloyd does not attempt to parry. Instead, he uses his 4th and most important secret weapon, the 𝐵𝐿 basic technique. It is the mana conjuring technique that will, in the future, make 𝐆𝐵𝐿 the most powerful man in the world. Lloyd learned it from him, even though he cannot use it to attack. Instead, he uses it defensively. When Newman's sword, charged with mana, strikes the shovel, the energy does not dissipate. Instead, it is absorbed into Lloyd's body through the shovel, leaving Newman completely drained of power and vulnerable. "You absorb my mana," the knight yells, shocked. Taking advantage of the moment of weakness, Lloyd strikes. A powerful blow with the side of the shovel hits Newman squarely in the face, knocking out a tooth that flies spectacularly through the air. With one final, decisive blow, Lloyd knocks the knight to the ground, rendering him unconscious. Silence. The crowd, the soldiers, the family, all are completely stunned. The Baron, stammering, declares Lloyd Frontura the winner of the duel. Newman, on the ground, cannot process the humiliation, an expert swordsman, defeated by a hooligan with a shovel. But for Lloyd, victory in the duel is only the beginning. Approaching Newman's inert body, he announces, "Now, it's time for you to take a beating." Ignoring his father's desperate cries that the duel is over, Lloyd begins to strike Newman with the shovel with demonic ferocity. The chapter ends with a shocking image of Lloyd punishing the fallen knight under the horrified gaze of everyone. Even after the duel is over, Lloyd continues to strike Newman mercilessly, much to the horror of the soldiers who try to stop him. From the stands, 𝐆𝐵𝐿 watches with cold eyes. He notices that although he seems to have lost his mind, Lloyd strikes with calculated precision, targeting every part of Newman's body to cause pain, but without endangering his life. Lloyd's face is calm, as if he had anticipated everything. Here, the story takes us back 15 days before the duel. We see how Lloyd convinced 𝐆𝐵𝐿 to teach him the basic 𝐵𝐿 technique. 𝐆𝐵𝐿 was shocked that Lloyd knew his secret and still imperfect technique. With complete shamelessness, Lloyd revealed to him that he learned everything from 𝐵𝐿's words during his sleep, which Lloyd had also induced in him. Then, he proposed a deal. He would help 𝐆𝐵𝐿 perfect his technique in exchange for learning it. Using his engineering knowledge, Lloyd explained 𝐆𝐵𝐿's problem in a way the knight could never have imagined. Mana from the environment is rejected by his mana heart because it is a foreign body. Lloyd's solution, inspired by the concept of an auxiliary engine, was for 𝐆𝐵𝐿 to not try to absorb the mana into his core, but to condense it near him, creating additional energy circles. The idea was a revelation. Javier was able to perfect his technique, and his gratitude translated into a plus 5-point increase in his approval rating. Lloyd, however, was not interested in the mana-generating part, but only in the defensive aspect, absorbing mana that came into contact with his body. With this knowledge, he was sure that he could defeat Newman. Back in the present, the Baron, furious, orders Lloyd to stop, shouting that he will not tolerate the tarnishing of a knight's honor. Lloyd, panting, replies, "The honor of this knight, my lord." He signals the Baron to kill himself under the cloth on the table in the gallery. There, the Baron finds a stack of letters. They are the letters of betrayal between Newman and the swindler Tords, detailing the financial state of the estate and plans to forge documents. Newman, now conscious, is horrified. How did Lloyd find the letters he had hidden in a wall? The answer is simple. Lloyd knew of their existence from the book and sent little Padong to retrieve them the night before. With Newman's betrayal exposed for all to see, the Baron is devastated, but also grateful to his son. Still, like a good leader, he contemplates a just punishment. Lloyd, however, knows that a good leader and a gentle leader are two different things. A forgiven traitor will not repent, but will become more cunning. So Lloyd proposes an ingenious public trial. He suggests a seemingly merciful punishment, to throw a fierce mouse at Newman's head. If he is wounded by the mouse, he will be exiled. If not, he will be demoted to the rank of private, with a chance at rehabilitation. The proposal seems wise and generous, a warning to all the others, and the Baron accepts it. Newman, seeing a chance to escape, gratefully accepts. But Lloyd knows that mercy has no place here. He whispers, the best way to ask for forgiveness is to remember that it doesn't exist. Taking out Padong, he gives it a red seed and throws it into the air. In front of the terrified crowd, the little hamster transforms into a colossus and, with a cry of agony from Newman, crashes into him with devastating force. Upon impact, Newman is seriously injured. According to the sentence, he must be exiled. Lloyd, with a satisfied smile, declares, and so, the rotten apple of this realm is eliminated. The chapter ends with Lloyd emerging victorious, having managed not only to win an impossible duel, but also to get rid of a dangerous traitor through a perfectly executed plan, proving once again that his modern intelligence is his most powerful weapon. After Newman's elimination, Lloyd wastes no time. With Padong's heavy equipment leveling the ground and the soldiers transformed into an efficient construction team, Lloyd begins an ambitious new project, the construction of a paved road. Inspired by the grandeur of Roman roads such as the Appian Way, he plans to build a major artery connecting the Baron's mansion to the foothills of the Eastern Mountain, a project that he promises will put this land on the map. As he oversees the work, an increasingly intrigued Javier confronts him. Lloyd's transformation is too drastic to ignore. He has introduced a never-before-seen heating system, summoned a powerful magical creature, and now possesses advanced engineering knowledge. Javier asks him directly, "Are you really, Master Lloyd?" A red warning notification appears, confirming Javier's suspicions. Lloyd panics. He knows that Javier is fiercely loyal to the Frontera family, and if he found out that a stranger had possessed the body of his master's son, he would not hesitate to kill him. To divert attention, Lloyd activates a special ability, stubborn insistence. He begins to bombard Javier with absurd arguments and rhetorical questions, claiming that he learned everything in secret while no one was paying attention, and that he is a born genius at invocations. Through this avalanche of words and rapid changes of subject, he manages to temporarily confuse Javier. Leaving his loyal knight, Sir Byron, to oversee the construction of the road, Lloyd announces that he is going on a journey. His goal, to recover some money that was stolen from us. Javier, whose duty it is to supervise him, insists on accompanying him. The two travel to the border town of Ladenia, where they find a con man, Tords, in an inn. Tords has just lost a large sum of money gambling and is about to be abandoned by his bodyguard, a dark wizard. When the bodyguard threatens to leave, Tords begs him to stay, promising to find another victim to deceive. Just then, Lloyd kicks the door open and enters the room, introducing himself with a broad smile. "I'm Lloyd Frontera. Do I sound familiar?" Tords and his bodyguard are shocked. The bodyguard offers to kill Lloyd, but Tords, panicking, orders him to run. They try to escape through the back window, but are intercepted by Javier, who is waiting for them right there, as Lloyd had instructed. The bodyguard, a powerful dark wizard, underestimates Javier due to his youth and attacks with gravity magic. Here, Lloyd's knowledge from the novel becomes crucial again. He remembers that in the original story, Javier, after the Baron's death, hunted down Tords and fought this sorcerer. Back then, Javier was just a high-level sword expert and had great difficulty in the face of dark magic. But now, things are different. Thanks to Lloyd's help, Javier has perfected his technique and reached a new level of power, now possessing a 3-circle man art. When the gravity magic hits him, Javier annihilates it with a single sword strike, to the sorcerer's utter astonishment. Realizing that he is dealing with a much stronger opponent than he expected, the bodyguard breaks his contract and flees, leaving Towards alone and helpless. Javier, furious, prepares to cut off Towards' legs for the crime of fraud against the nobility. But to his surprise, Lloyd stops him. "Enough, Javier! You've lost your temper!" he shouts, defending the swindler. Javier is shocked. Why would Lloyd show mercy to the man who almost destroyed his family? This action completely contradicts the tyrannical and calculating image he had formed of the new Lloyd. The chapter ends with Javier looking at Lloyd in utter confusion, unable to understand the motives of this man, full of contradictions, who seems to be saving a scoundrel from deserved punishment. In the inn room, Lloyd confronts Towards, the bound and terrified con man. With a calm smile, Lloyd tells him that he understands greed, but that the death penalty for fraud is too harsh. He offers to forgive him and not bring him to justice. Towards, relieved, agrees to immediately return all the stolen assets. But Lloyd is not finished. Returning the money is just the beginning. He presents Towards with a work contract. According to this contract, Towards will receive a salary, but 80% of it will be withheld as payment for the debt he has created. With a devilish smile, Lloyd informs him that at this rate, he will pay off his debt in just 520 years. Javier, who is witnessing the scene, realizes that Lloyd never intended to forgive Towards. His plan is not to kill him, but to squeeze every drop of value out of him for the rest of his life. Faced with the alternative of being tried and executed, Towards tearfully signs the slavery contract. On the way back, with Towards tied to the wagon, Lloyd plans his next steps. The money recovered will cover the interest for a few months, but he needs more. His plan is to invest in labor, but he is worried that his reputation as a hooligan will discourage any villagers from working for him. A few days later, however, the surprise is of proportions. A huge queue of villagers forms at his job advertisement, which offers a generous salary of 20 gold coins per week. Javier explains the reason. Through his recent actions, delivering the Ondal systems on time, exposing the traitor Newman, and summoning a powerful creature, Lloyd is no longer seen as a troublemaker, but as a talented and trustworthy man. A villager even approaches Lloyd to personally thank him, telling him that thanks to the Ondal system, his sickly child survived the winter. Hearing these words, Lloyd, who had initially done everything out of greed, feels genuinely embarrassed, but also pleased. The moment of glory is amplified when the villager sends him a request from a relative in a neighboring land, who also wants to buy an Ondal system. This is the moment Lloyd has been waiting for. His plan was never to limit himself to his own domain. Building Ondal systems at a loss was an investment in marketing. Now, with demand coming from outside, he can add huge transportation fees and make a profit. Javier, looking at the road under construction leading up the mountain, is still puzzled. Why this road? Lloyd, with a sly smile, reveals the final piece of the puzzle. Ondal systems require an astronomical amount of fuel. The local forest will be cleared quickly, but at the end of that road lies an abandoned coal mine. Javier reminds him that previous barons have tried to exploit the mine, but it always collapsed due to unstable rock. But Lloyd has an ace up his sleeve, his knowledge of modern engineering. He plans to use the shield tunneling method, an advanced technique completely unknown in this world, to safely excavate. The plan is devilishly simple and brilliant. Create a huge demand for fuel by popularizing Ondal systems, then become the sole supplier of coal, selling at an exorbitant price. The people will be addicted to the heat he has provided them. With a new sense of confidence, Lloyd, followed by Javier, heads towards the abandoned mine. But as they get closer, they discover that they are not alone. Strange noises are heard from the dark depths of the mine. A creature with long, thin legs emerges, followed by a multitude of glowing red eyes. The chapter ends with Lloyd and Javier facing off against a swarm of monstrous creatures, resembling giant ants, who have made the coal mine their home. The treasure Lloyd sought is guarded by an underground nightmare. After his successful duel, Lloyd has amassed an impressive 639 RP, which he immediately invests in a series of upgrades. He has raised his basic planning and basic surveying skills to level 10, unlocking their intermediate forms, which grant him extremely useful optional skills, such as GPR scan, ground penetrating radar. Armed with his new powers, Lloyd returns to the coal mine. Using GPR scan, he can see up to 5 meters deep, identifying a safe route through unstable rock. The major problem is manpower. Human workers would tire too quickly, and Padong, his heavy tool, is still recovering from the effort of building the road. The solution? A new summon. With 119 RP left, Lloyd uses his 70 to play the random summon game again. This time, a small pink worm-like creature with a bow on its head appears from the magic circle. The new summon, named 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴, seems even more useless than 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 at first. But Lloyd has learned not to judge by appearances. 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 confirms that he can grow in size and has special abilities. A few weeks later, the excavation project is in full swing, using an incredibly bizarre but effective method devised by Lloyd. Step 1. A gigantic 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴, placed in front of a makeshift tunneling machine, gnaws and eats the earth and rock with its Earth Chew Level 1 ability. Step 2. Thanks to its accelerated earth digestion ability, 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 launches projectiles made of pure steel excrement with its Steel Chicken Launcher Level 1. Step 3. 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴, behind 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴, uses his sword skills to cut these projectiles into uniform segments. Step 4. The blacksmiths use these segments to forge support beams for the tunnel. Step 5. 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 has an existential crisis, wondering why a knight of his rank would end up cutting up the droppings of a giant pink worm underground. The process is exhausting and dangerous due to the lack of oxygen, but Lloyd, remembering the lazy bosses from his previous life, insists on staying on the site with his men. Using GPR scanning, he guides and motivates them, and eventually they reach the coal mine. But just as they prepare to widen the mine, the wall in front of them begins to crumble. Lloyd's GPR scan reveals a hole behind the wall that wasn't there before. From the crack, a swarm of monstrous ants, with red eyes and sharp pincers, pour out. Lloyd realizes with horror that this is a threat he didn't anticipate, something not mentioned in the novel. 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 rushes into battle, defending the workers' retreat, but is quickly overwhelmed by the sheer number of creatures. The tunnel is too narrow, the oxygen is running out, and a mine collapse would only slow them down temporarily. In a moment of panic, 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 slaps Lloyd to bring him back to reality. The spark of inspiration strikes. Lloyd remembers, anthill, coal, underground, fire. 𝐶𝐫𝐴, we're gonna face them head on. We're going into the anthill. Lloyd shouts, grabbing a torch. Although the idea seems suicidal, 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴, now trusting Lloyd's judgment, follows him without hesitation. The two throw themselves straight into the heart of the swarm, ready for a desperate confrontation in the dark depths of the mine. Amidst the chaos of the ant-infested mine, news reaches the mansion. A worker reports to the Baron that Lloyd and 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 have been left behind to secure the evacuation and are now trapped inside. Without hesitation, Baron Arco's Frontura dons his armor and prepares to personally embark on a rescue mission. Meanwhile, deep within the mine, the situation is desperate. Lloyd and 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 are completely surrounded, fighting back-to-back. 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴, though incredibly strong, is beginning to tire from the heat and lack of air. Lloyd knows he must act quickly. Using his scanning ability, he remembers a geological concept. Coal seams often contain pockets of highly flammable methane gas. His plan is risky, but it is their only chance to find such a pocket and detonate it with his torch, destroying the entire colony. The two make their way deeper into the nest, with 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 cutting a bloody path through the swarm and Lloyd lighting the way. Eventually, Lloyd's GPR scan detects a massive pocket of methane gas. While 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 holds off the ants, Lloyd begins frantically digging with a shovel to expose the gas. Just as he manages to break through the rock layer, an even greater threat emerges from the depths. The Ant Queen, a gigantic creature with an impenetrable shell. Even with his increased strength, 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 can barely fend off her devastating attacks. It's clear they can't defeat her in a direct fight. Taking advantage of 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴's moment to keep the queen occupied, Lloyd finishes digging and shouts, "Run, 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴! Get out!" He throws the lit torch directly into the gas pocket. A cataclysmic explosion ensues. The entire mine is shaken by a massive shockwave, and flames engulf the tunnels, incinerating the ant colony. On the surface, the soldiers and the Baron feel the earthquake and see smoke billowing from the mine entrance. Underground, 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴, in a final act of loyalty, throws himself over Lloyd to shield him from the explosion with his own body. When the dust settles, Lloyd finds himself injured but alive. The plan has succeeded, but the price has been high. The Ant Queen is annihilated, but 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 lies unconscious next to him, gravely injured. The little summon, 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴, is also knocked out. Worse, the explosion has collapsed both mine exits, trapping them underground. A warning notification appears, informing Lloyd that the oxygen level is dropping dangerously fast. With the last of his strength, Lloyd knows he must dig a new exit. He looks at the helpless bodies of 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 and 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 and makes a promise to himself. "We will get out of here together, no matter what. I am responsible for both of you." This unwavering determination is perceived by the system. A notification appears, saying that 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴 is moved by his determination not to give up. His approval rating increases by +6 points, earning Lloyd 108 RP. With a total of 157 RP, he now has the resources to try something. As his oxygen bar drops alarmingly low, Lloyd, in an act of desperation, shouts to the system, "Messenger, find a skill I can improve." The chapter ends with Lloyd searching for a last resort in his system, in a race against time for survival in the dark and unstable depths of the mine. In the suffocating darkness of the collapsed mine, with his oxygen nearly depleted, Lloyd makes one last desperate attempt. He asks the system to scan the skills he has acquired. The system identifies the components of the 𝐆𝐫𝐿 basic technique he has learned and practiced: absorption, processing, and mana amplification. For a mere 10 RP, the system offers him the chance to combine them into a single official skill. Without hesitation, Lloyd accepts. With a burst of energy, he unlocks 𝐆𝐫𝐿 basic technique, single circle level 5. He can now use RP to instantly increase his skill level, a shortcut no normal knight has. Spending almost all of his points, he raises his skill to double circle level 1, achieving a 200% mana amplification. But that's not all. He remembers that when he upgraded his surveying and design skills, he unlocked some optional skills. The system reveals 2 such abilities. Energizer allows him to move for 10 minutes without feeling fatigued once per day. Latent Power Wave triples his mana boost for 20 seconds once per day. With the air unbreathable and time running out, Lloyd activates both abilities. With renewed energy and tripled power, he begins to dig at superhuman speed, piercing through the last few feet of earth and rock. As his powers run out and he collapses, a hole opens above him, and Padong appears, rescuing them. A breath of fresh air fills his lungs. They've escaped. Outside the mine, the Baron, who is preparing to enter alone, is greeted by the image of his exhausted son, carrying Javier, who is also injured, on his back. The 2 heroes are immediately taken to the mansion to recover. In the days that follow, Lloyd's reputation changes dramatically. Rumors of his bravery spread throughout the land. The villagers, who once despised him, now praise him. They learn how he secured the evacuation of the workers, how he entered the anthill alone with Sir Javier, and how, although almost dead, he carried the wounded knight back to safety. Lloyd has become the hero of the barony. Waking up in his bed, Lloyd is greeted by a notification. Due to his heroic courage, all of the Baron's subjects praise him. As a reward for this great achievement, he receives a huge amount of bonus RP. His points increase from 7 to an astonishing 507. To Lloyd, hero status means little, but 500 RP? This is a real treasure. With a greedy smile, he already begins to make plans for his new fortune, ready to take his project to the next level. The chapter ends with Lloyd resting, but his mind already in full swing, now having the resources to accelerate his plans to become the greatest real estate developer this world has ever seen.